Hello everyone and welcome to Sinful Gaming. I hope you're all doing well, I hope you're all staying safe, and most of all, I hope you're all fighting that war against the grey. Today's video, we're going to talk start collecting Warhammer Age of Sigmar, and today we're going to take a look at the Disciples of Tzeentch, and in particular, the brand new Vanguard box set for the faction. In this video, we're going to go through, talk about the contents inside the box set, talk about what all those units can do on the table. We'll then take a look at a couple of units we recommend on picking up to complement the initial box. And finally, we'll finish off the video with a little sample 1000 point army list for you to use as some inspiration to start creating your own Disciples of Tzeentch army using the Vanguard box set. And so, to start with, we have the Magister on Disc of Tzeentch. This model has a nice 4+ save, which makes it a really solid hero for your force. It also has a really decent move as well, able to fly around on that Disc of Tzeentch. It's got a cool rule called Magic Touch, where if the first casting attempt made by this unit in your hero phase is successful and the spell is not unbound, this unit can attempt to cast an extra spell in that phase. If it does so and the casting roll for that extra spell is a double, however, the casting attempt automatically fails though and this unit is slain. If this happens, you can choose for this unit to be transformed into a spawn instead of being slain. Next we have the Kharak Acolytes, a nice 5+ save unit. They've got quite a few different upgrades for the units, which is really nice. Now they've got their Scroll of Dark Arts, which gives them +1 to casting and unbinding rolls, so long as the model's in the unit, and they've also got their own spell called Gestalt Sorcery. They're a unit of wizards. What this allows to do is improve the Ren characteristic of their ranged attack, which will give them, one attack at 4s and 3s at range, with Ren -1 damage 1 if they manage to get the spell off. They've also got a couple of other nice little upgrades like the Volchark, where you can do some damage to enemy wizards, and they can have a variety of different weapon options. We also have a unit of 10 Zangor. These models are much more combat orientated than your Kharak Acolytes. They get +1 to wound rolls with their melee attacks if they've made a charge move in the same turn, and like the Kharak Acolytes, they have a variety of different weapons, from having some shields which will give them a nice ward save of 6+, to having weapons that will get them some extra attacks or even some extra damage on them. Now, we also have Flamers of Tzeentch, which are one of the many demon units we have access to with the Disciples of Tzeentch army. Flamers have a pretty decent shooting attack. They can put out quite a bit of hurt, with 3s to hit and 4s to wounds and D3 damage on 3 attacks per model. So it'll be quite a decent amount of damage output coming out of these models. Lastly, we have the Screamers of Tzeentch, a really fast moving Tzeentch Daemon unit that can generally have a nice lot of attacks and can generally work pretty well. The big thing for them is they deal mortal wounds when they pass over enemy units, and they potentially hurt wizards a little bit more. Now, where to look to next for the models, and I really like the Curseling. Now, another cool thing, if you did pick up Arcane Cataclysm, you'll have this amazing new Curseling sculpt available to you already. It's a pretty solid wizard that can actually do a little bit of fighting as well. It's got a 3+ save, making it great for a small foot hero general with a decent save. It can actually pack out 3 attacks at 3s and 3s, Ren 1 damage 2 in combat, plus it stuffs Tzeentch for another 3 attacks. So not all that great. It does cast and unbind 1 spell, but it can reroll unbinding and dispelling rolls for itself, and then it has a couple of its own spells. It can use Glean Magic, which is really nice on a 4+ after cast. It can attempt to cast 1 extra spell, and an enemy wizard can attempt to cast 1 fewer spell if it targets the wizard, and then Barrier of Fate allows you to put a 6+ ward onto a friendly unit. Now, alongside these models, it's definitely worth picking up some Chaos Spawn for your army. There is a bunch of different things in the Tzeentch book that allow you to play around with the different models in there and turn things into Chaos Spawn. So definitely picking up a few of these models will be a great thing to do and get your army just have some nice utility. Really good for stopping things like Unleash Hell and all of that, or tying up enemy units, stopping them being able to move or charge or do other things. Really, really cool abilities. Now we then have the Horrors of Tzeentch. These are your basic demons for the game. Now, they can split and split again, which means if you buy pink horrors, they will split into blue horrors, then into brimstone horrors, which is really cool. And they're going to have a variety of different upgrades for the unit. Generally, a really nice unit to have there for some summoning, as they do have quite a decent amount of wound density to them. Lastly, we have the Tzeentch Endless Spells, and a couple of them are rather nice. First of all, the Tome of Eyes will allow you to get some rerolls in there for the caster that this spell comes out and gets attached to. The Burning Sigil of Tzeentch has a nice rule called Radiant Transmogrification, probably butchered that word. At the end of the movement phase, you roll a dice for each enemy, for each unit within 9 inch of this endless spell. That includes your own. On a 4+, that unit suffers D3 mortal wounds, and if any models were slain by this spell before removing the first slain model, the commanding player of this endless spell can add 1 Tzeentch Chaos Spawn to their army and set it up within 3 inch of the model's unit, and then remove the slain models. The last one we have here is the Demonic Simulacrum, and this is pretty much just a damage dealing endless spell. You can move it around the table as it's predatory, and after it's moved, you roll 9 dice for the closest unit within 6 inch of it. If more than one such unit is equally close, you get to choose which one you want, but for each 5+, you deal a mortal wound, and if this unit is a wizard that is targeting, you deal the mortal wounds on a 4+ instead. And so here we have our sample army list. Now, we've chosen to be from the Cult of Transient Form. What this effectively allows us to do is when a friendly Karak Acolyte unit or model is destroyed in the combat phase, before removing it on a 2 to 5, that model can fight before it dies, or on a 6, we get to add a model to a friendly nearby Vanguard unit. With the models we get in the box set, I think this is just a nice, easy, simple one to play around with. It's fun, it's not got too many extra rules to sort of put on top. With Tzeentch, you can sort of lay out a little bit of rules heavy, but if you're definitely playing, to begin with, this is just a fun, simple one to use. Now, the other things that we've got in the army, first of all, is Show of Dominance as our grand strategy. This is pretty simple. We're just aiming to have a unit in every table quarter at the end of the game. And then we've got a Triumph for Inspired as we're 20 points under, giving us a +1 to wound somewhere. Now, we've got our leader who's going to be the Curseling the Eye of Tzeentch, and the command trait we've gone for is Cold Demagogue. This is for a wizard only, and if a casting roll for this general is at double, the casting attempt is successful and the spell cannot be unbound. In addition, we receive 2 fate points instead of 1 if this happens. So a pretty solid artifact there. We then have the Arcane Tome to allow this wizard to cast a second spell. Really cool if we're wanting to get out an endless spell or something. And then for a spell, we have Arcane Suggestion. What this is going to allow us to do is we get to pick one of the following effects on a table after we cast it to an enemy unit. We can allow an enemy unit to not receive commands or issue them. We can make an enemy unit -1 to hit and wounds, or we can subtract 1 from their save rolls. So some nice options there. We'll then have the Magister of Tzeentch on disc, and then he's going to have the Infusium Arcanum, which is quite simply +1 to hit and wound. For our battle line, we have 2 units of 10 Karak Acolytes and a unit of 10 Zangor Host. We then have a unit of 3 Flamers, and for an endless spell, we have the Burning Sigil of Tzeentch. Now, we've got a core battalion, the Expert Conquerors, and I really like this because if you can have your Karak Acolytes near that Zangor host, every time they kill a Karak Acolyte, it actually just goes into the Zangor host and keeps keeping as 3 models for the purpose of the Expert Conquerors battalion. I think that's a little cool, nice thing to have happen. Now, the Burning Sigil of Tzeentch is always going to be the case. You want to include at least 1 endless spell in your army for the Tzeentch, and one of the Tzeentch specific ones, and you get to freely summon it turn 1, so long as you've got a wizard able to do so. Now, we then have 900 of our 1,000 points spent, as said. We've got no reinforced units and no allies. 57 wounds is a little bit on the lower average side, and 6 drops. If you've got some thoughts for the brand new box set for the Disciples of Tzeentch, the Vanguard box set, let us know down in the comments below what you would do with this box set. And so that is the end of the video. We hope you all enjoyed it. If you did, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. If you'd like to come chat more with me and other members of our cool little community here at Sinful Gaming, you can do so in our Discord server, which is linked down in the video's description. If you'd like to help support the channel, you can do so either by joining our Patreon or YouTube members, both of which are linked in the video's description, or going over to our channel merch store and grabbing some channel merch for yourself. We'd like to give our Patreons and YouTube members a special shout out for helping support the channel and allowing us to keep doing what we're doing. So a special thank you to our Patreons, Christian Weir, Soren, Kenny Lowe, Outer and Shot First, Andrew Bowen, Nathan Fee, The Rising 8, Cure Dynamic, Anthony B, JJ Austrian, Average Wargamer, Domir, Mark Harvey, James Cater, Derek and Bloobs, and to our YouTube members as well, Green Roots Gaming, Kenton Young, Ronya, Locklorick, The Johnny 84, David Ellsworth, Wolf Ulfric Nick, Broken Chef, Ariana Edwards, Revenar, Pink Nico Fire, Robin Mankiller, Monty's Tabletop Terrain, John Castle, and Davis Weir. And a special thank you to Lady Witchfox at the end here, because she does all the amazing artwork for the channel. It looks stunning. With that said, thank you all for watching once again. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Stay safe, stay well, and most of all, keep fighting that war against the grey. Ciao for now.